Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, things are very different in these parts. It is literally now 1 a.m. and I look like I have the sun in my bedroom. I look like I've imported the sun, like I bought my own special little piece of sun and like stuck it somewhere in my room. And that's because I have upgraded my entire lighting situation. Finally, it is long overdue. In my last video, things were a little bit dark, shadows were showing up a bit too much, and I really wasn't happy. So I just kind of went all out and like changed everything. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So if you want to go like step by step with me and like walk through my entire lighting situation and how I've gotten this set up, then just keep watching. So I have notes, I have receipts. I'm literally gonna walk you through each and every step of this process. So we're going to start at the very beginning of like my YouTube video journey, and I'm going to just be inserting clips of the videos that I use these specific light setups, just because I can't take everything down and like try to demo it in this particular video, but I will have reference points, so as I'm speaking they'll just be flashing on the screen. But the very beginning of my YouTube journey, my lighting was terrible. It was so bad. I would only use daylight, and daylight is like your best friend if you're new to YouTube, but the problem with it is that it's inconsistent, especially now when like Nairobi is like threatening to rain and like kind of wanting to but not really. Daylight is pretty scarce, so the way it's like overcast, it's not really the best for YouTube. And even when it's not really cloudy, the sun will be coming in and out of like different clouds, so your lighting keeps changing and you find that there's like inconsistency in your video. So relying on daylight has never really been something I enjoyed, but at the beginning, because I didn't really have the funds to invest in anything and I was really just testing it out and like starting out, so I tried only using daylight, but it just wouldn't work for me. And obviously camera settings play a huge part in this, but that's not what this video is about. So camera settings are so important. You can manipulate a lot of different things, so that's a whole other video. If you want to see that, comment down below and I will sort of walk you through how I set up my camera, especially for all these lights, so I'm not completely blown out. But at the very beginning I had two things. I had natural daylight. This, I keep pointing this way when I'm talking about the sun because this is where my window is, and it is quite big, but the sun doesn't hit it directly, so I would be filming during the day and still not have quite enough light. So I did go out and get myself an LED light. Now, I bought this downtown. I bought this somewhere near Nairobi Textiles. I don't really remember the name of the shop. And that was like 2 years ago, like a year and a half or something. I don't even know. But yeah, at the very beginning of my YouTube journey, this is what I used in conjunction with daylight. It just says professional video light, like an LED light. This is the box that it came in. And this is the actual light itself. I love this because, as you can see, it actually is bright and you can adjust the brightness, so it can go higher or lower depending on what you need. So I did sort of used to prop this upwards and have it like pointing down at me, and then I also had my camera pointing down at me. So as you can see in the clips, the lighting was okay. It wasn't great, it wasn't consistent. Sometimes I'd be struggling, like the lighting changes 3-4 times in one very short video, so it was very frustrating for me. And after a while, after I decided that I really did want to commit to YouTube, I decided to upgrade my life and like create a DIY ring light, which I will show you right now. And I'm looking there because it is right next to my camera but a little bit pushed back. My DIY ring light is made of very basic ingredients. Like, I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I had like pizza boxes lying around, like the giant Pizza Inn, like buy one get one free pizza boxes lying around. So what I did was I opened them up completely and then I cut it in a circle, because the reason most people like ring lights is because of that circular light. It's very flattering to the skin tone as opposed to having something square or something triangular. Like, a circle just diffuses the light really beautifully and like make sure you're actually well lit on all sides of your face, as opposed to like harshly lit on this side and like not lit on this side, you know? And I think I will just turn off my newer lights just so you can see exactly what I was working with as recently as last week. And I got these lights like a year ago, but last week's video just really made me sad because I loved my look in that video. I loved the content of that video, but as soon as the sun went down, then I really was just left with the 3 lights that I had and it wasn't working for me. Okay, so these are the lights that I upgraded to from having the initial very pathetic lighting, and as you can see, it's not awesome. It's a huge difference from what I had just a second ago to what I have right now. You can see a whole, I have no sense of direction, so this is where I meant to point. You can see a whole lot of darkness going on here because there's no sunlight from my window, so there's nothing to balance it out. All my lights are coming from this side, and they are the 3 lights that I will be showing you on screen at some point in this little talk of mine. And yeah, they're not bad. The reason I only have the three of them up is we actually bought 4 bulbs. I got 5 bulb holders because I'm extra like that, and I really wanted to have as many lights as I needed, as opposed to having to keep going back to the electrician to have him add one more and one more and one more. I just thought 5 would be an absolutely perfect number in case I needed like extreme lighting. But I did end up only using the 3 bulbs because, first of all, as you can see, you are seeing more of me in this video, so I am pushed a little bit further back from my camera and from my lighting than I was before in my other videos. So when you're really close to the lights, you don't really need as much. So of the 5 bulb holders that I got, only 3 of them really needed to have bulbs, and that was the 2 sides of the ring light and the bottom, because I felt like having 4 of them was making the light a bit too harsh and like making me look permanently constantly shiny in every video, no matter how matte I actually am. So this worked as a really good balance for at that point in my life, in my YouTube career. I am using this cloth because they do tend to get a little bit hot, but not enough to like make you melt as the person in front of the camera. But if you do go to touch them, you will burn, so be careful about that. But this bulb is absolutely amazing. This is the Philips 23-watt power saving bulb. I absolutely love this, first of all, because I have literally in total now, I think I have 9 or 10 bulbs. So you can only imagine if I was using a normal bulb, that would take up a lot of electricity. So getting a power saving bulb is a definite plus in my books. Plus it's 23 watts, that's equivalent to 125 watts. So it's still pretty bright. As much as it sounds like it's a low number, it's still a really bright bulb. And this is an extra bright energy saver in the shape, like the style, Tornado. Now they have different styles. They actually have one that's more of the elongated shape versus this Tornado like short, fat and curly shape. But I have tested both of them side by side, and I feel like this does not produce as much light as this, even at the same wattage. 23 watts, I hope that's the right word. I'm really trying to not sound stupid in this video, but I know nothing about electricity, just the basics that I understand. So this is definitely the bulb that you want because it is extra bright. And this is the same price and it's not as bright as this. So if you can get fewer bulbs with the same impact, I mean, why not just save the money? Warm light is not sunlight. You know the way you see a bulb with like yellow light and you think this is the closest to sunlight? That's not it. This super white light, like this white bulb, this cooler light is closer to sunlight, and you'll just see on the box, I can just tell you. So basically the warmer the light, the lower in number it is. It's probably like 1000K around there. The cooler the light, the higher number it is. So like this one on the bottom of the box, you'll see when you go into a supermarket, it's found in any supermarket. If you look at the bottom, you will see 6500K. That's a higher number, so it is a cooler light as opposed to like 1000, which would be a warmer light. So if I can demo that, I will insert a clip here just so you can see the difference in the two lights. I've gone to so many different supermarkets and they don't really have this one, and even this, the only one that I could find, as you can see, is the one with the spiral bottom. And most of our plugs are not spiral bottoms, especially when you go to get the bulb holders, they will not be spiral bottoms. But I have this adapter right here, and it is sort of like a spiral bottom to the pin adapter. So you just twist it in and then you stick it into the pin place and you're sorted. So that's kind of how I've gotten around it, because I really didn't want to wait for the normal ones to come back in stock and then like have bad lighting for like another month or something. So yeah, if you are like me and you're not willing to wait or take the chance that they may never come back in stock, because they do have the 20-watt ones in like the normal pin, but I want like the brightest possible light, and the highest number that I found is the 23-watt ones. So if you're like me and you don't want to wait, these adapters are 50 bob, and I just found them in like my local hardware store. So if you ask them for the spiral to pin adapters for bulbs, they will know what you're talking about. 50 bob, do not pay more than that, and yeah, it works amazingly. I have it for 5 of my bulbs and no issue so far. So now I've returned the 4th bulb into the socket, and I hope you can see the difference. My face is now just looking shiny because all the light is concentrated in the front area and none of it is really diffused to the back. So it's all really concentrated in my T-zone. And as I'm reviewing like foundations and showing you how they wear throughout the day, I hate having to keep telling you that it's not as shiny as it looks on camera, you know? So I did really need to find a way to balance out the lights and make it not look quite as harsh on my face. And I know you can get like a soft box and whatever, but with the way I've constructed my ring light, the only practical way to put like a diffuser on top of it is to get the wax paper. And I thought the wax paper was just like an American thing, like just, you know, just to be found in the States, but it's actually used for baking. So if you go into like the baking aisle, you'll find foil paper and then you'll find a wax paper, and it kind of I don't know how to describe it, but if you ask them for wax paper, they probably won't know what you're talking about. So just go, like, Google wax paper and then go into a supermarket and know what you're looking for. And then it will just make life so much easier for you. For me, I was really hesitant to, like, diffuse the light because I felt like I'd invested so much in, like, getting the bulb. So why should I then have less light that I'll have to compensate for in another area, you know? So for me, I just found 4 bulbs are a bit too harsh. I'd rather play around with my settings, work with the 3 bulbs, and like see how I can make that sort of balance out, you know? So I've just put in the 5th bulb on that ring light situation of mine just to show you what all the bulbs working would look like. And I feel like this is diffusing the light a lot more. So it's making it, it's kind of bringing the light from a different direction. So it's making it a bit less harsh. And as you can see, I feel like I still look a bit shiny in the monitor, but not quite as harshly, glaringly shiny as I did with just the 4 bulbs. So I feel like the magic number for me was either 3 or 5, and I didn't want to have too much light because now I feel like this side of my video looks a bit darker than it needs to, so I would need to balance this out and then definitely have daylight there to like sort of even it out. Or if you want to use a foil paper, you can just put that and reflect it, but I didn't want to bother with the putting it up, taking it down for every video, so I'm more of a permanent solution type of person. And I just realized I got derailed as I was describing what my ring light is made of. So what I did is that I basically took one of those giant pizza boxes and I cut it into as big of a circle as I could, and then I took pieces of other boxes and like cut them up and reinforced that circle. So I couldn't get 2 round circles that were like even and perfectly cut out, so I got pieces of other boxes and then I used like a needle and thread and basically shonnered my way through them just to make sure they're properly reinforced, because I felt like just having the round circular like pizza box wasn't secure enough for me to like put my bulb holder through it and like feel secure that I'm going to hang it somewhere and it's not gonna cut through the paper, it's not gonna like break the board or fall off or something, because these bulbs are not the cheapest things in the world. So I really didn't want to risk them getting broken or getting spoiled for no reason, and I've had them for over a year now, so I feel like I've done a pretty good job at that. And just having lasting solutions rather than doing the same thing twice or thrice, like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I'd rather just do it once and like be done with that, you know? And then I actually think it had those holes that my shawl has gone through, so I have it propped up on my dresser thing, but I really wanted to have like a scarf tied to the mirror and like tied to the whole contraption, so that in case it ever like falls from where I have it propped up, it still has something to catch it so that my bulbs don't break, because that's a risk I'm not willing to take. One bulb, I bought one in Nakumat like a year ago for like 500 bob. Now it's gone down. I bought the rest of them at Carrefour just this weekend actually for like 440, but yeah, still 440 times 4 breaking for no reason, like that would really piss me off. So I'm not trying to get upset, I'm not trying to get worked up, so why not just secure it and then forget about it, you know? So from my experience, my advice is that if you can find one stationary location to just keep your things and hang them up, like if you don't have kids, obviously kids will come and like mess with everything, but I don't have kids, I live alone, I can just have it in that one stationary position and not have to worry about it. So I just switched back to my new and improved lighting just so you can see the stark difference between only having that one set of lights versus now having this little halo of light that I've sort of cocooned myself in. I'm really excited because it's literally 2 a.m. and my lighting still looks freaking amazing. This is the beauty of having artificial lights. If you do it right, it can give you the most consistent, the most reliable, the most beautiful finish. I have 9 bulbs in total and it was worth every single penny. That is the most expensive part of this DIY, because I just used, like I was saying, an old pizza box. I went and got the cable. Okay, I feel like now it's time to get into my receipts. Bulb holder. I got 5 pieces, 70 shillings each. The last time I bought them at 50 bob each, but she kind of talked me into believing that the most recent ones are like a better quality. So 50 bob to 70 bob each, depending on how many you want. That will be your total cost. Plus the cable. Now, the first time I bought it, I got the wrong cable. I got those long black ones that you see in like hardware stores, but that was the wrong one. The electrician I went to had to go out and buy me the right one. So as you can see, I'll show you a close-up of the cable that I have now. This is the right one for like passing electricity and connecting bulbs and all of that. So if you can get that, it is 30 bob per meter. So measure how many meters you want. I have a tape measure, so I was getting my results in inches and then going to trusty old Google to like Google 90 inches is how many meters. Then always add on an extra meter because it's just 30 bob and you'll really appreciate that flexibility. Next is the wall plug, the thing that the 3-pin. Definitely get a 3-pin, not a 2-pin, because I mean it's so much more convenient than having to look for like a pen to like stick your thing into the socket, you know. So it's just 100 bob. So in total this time it cost me 690 to get the basics that I needed to create the electrical situation. My electrician, I don't know if he's expensive or not, because this is the same thing I was charged the last time. I was charged about 400 bob just for the labor of putting all of these things together. I feel like it's expensive, but I feel like I don't really have a reference point to like argue with him. So if you have any idea of what it should actually cost, definitely leave that in the comments below just to educate the rest of this community. Also, I mentioned initially that I bought 4 bulbs. I was only using 3 on the ring light, so I put the other one above me because the light that's coming from above you is just as important. You have to have that overhead light. That is one of the main things that has made a difference in my videos, because I feel like it just brings a really nice layer of light to this area, so you don't have like a patch of darkness here and then like light hitting you from every direction and it's very harsh but it's not balanced. So I feel like having a good overhead light is really good, and if you can go with the exact same lights all through, then there's consistency and even like the temperature of the light. So you see, like if you go with 9 bulbs that are all 1,000, that's better than going with like 1 bulb at 1,000, 1 bulb at 5,000, 1 bulb at 6,500, 1 bulb at this. It kind of just makes your light look wonky, you know? So I feel like even these bulbs working together with the daylight, they work beautifully because they are sort of the same temperature. So a quick explanation of my new bulb setup. First of all, let me just turn them off so you can see the huge difference that they instantly make. Do you see? It's definitely obvious that I'm definitely shooting at night, and then it just makes my foreground, like the ring light situation, like so much harsher on my skin. And you can see like now I'm just looking greasy, I'm looking oily, and I've literally just touched up with powder, so I am not actually greasy or oily in person, but because of the harshness of the light, it does translate things differently on camera. Now I can turn them back on and you can see the amazing effects that they have. So this really does bring things to life. So it is very important to have some sort of backlight, and I will just show you this light directly behind me. I'm literally blocking it because I don't want it to move to the side there and then be creating some sort of harsh glare there. Where I prefer it to be is like right behind me, so that harsh glare is sort of having a halo effect over my head and like creating some sort of separation between me and the background. Then I have a light to this side of my video, and I don't have it on like the same level as me. I have it a little bit further behind just so it can also serve as a backlight, but it's not so close to me that it will form some sort of glare. So I have that light over there, and I have one angled slightly in front of me. I don't know if you can tell, so I'm just going to do this. I have one over there and I have one over there, so you can see one is slightly behind, one is slightly over there, and those two sort of serve as my window. And as you can see, because I got the extra bright bulbs, I only need 2 of them and it's like my window is open. Because I am all about keeping things secure, first of all, this one behind me is wrapped in a towel because, like I said, the bulbs get really hot. The one directly in the windowsill is actually being held up by Unga. Like, this is how you know this is proper DIY, because I have 2 bags of Unga holding it up, and I feel like this is how I feel the most secure, because now I know it's not moving anywhere. I even have it wrapped around my bed just to make sure. And then I have this other one in front of me. Now this one is more of this direction, so we have one in this direction. This is in front of me, pointing directly at my face just to get rid of any shadows that I may have in this area. Bulb number 1 is at this angle. Bulb number 2 is slightly in front of me, but more horizontal, but slightly in front of me. Bulb number 3 is also more horizontal, but it's slightly behind me. Bulb number 4 is directly behind me. The material that I got for my backdrop, I got a white one, which is actually the best decision ever, because the white one, for some reason, it does not show the wrinkles. As soon as I hang it up, it just looks seamless and flawless and perfect. Whereas like the black one, the yellow one, this green one that I came home, like I was so excited because I was like, I have something that's a rich green and beautiful. In camera, it literally looks like, you know, those materials that people use when they're like decorating a church or decorating like a wedding or decorating an event. I mean, yes, it is satin, but I don't want it to look so basic, you know? I got satin material, and this was 180 per meter. If you're going for a white backdrop, this is the cheapest one. I literally just asked her what's the cheapest one you have, because I thought, I mean, it'll work. I'll just iron it and it'll be fine, yeah? Satin material, I got this because, as you can see, one side, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but one side of it is like the matte side and one side of it is like the shiny side. But let me show you this. Yes, so one side of the material is very shiny and like reflective, and one side is like a lot more matte. So I thought that would be like getting, instead of just like 4 pieces of material, I felt like with the different finishes, it would be like getting 8 in one. That was my mistake, because I feel like, first of all, I prefer the matte side any day, but I guess I wouldn't have really known that had I not gotten both of them. This material was a definite mistake. except for the white one. What I want to do is go back and get crease-free material. If you can get crease-free material, it's more expensive. It's about 400 bob per meter. So I honestly think that's it. That's all I have to say about my new lighting and setup situation. I really hope you found this video helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Be sure to subscribe. Of course, share it with a friend if you know someone who's starting out on YouTube and they want to do a very DIY sort of situation. This would be absolutely perfect for them. Comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your setup is. Let me know if my setup is too ratchet for light. Even with all these bulbs and all this lighting, it's still cheaper than a ring light, but I'm just saying. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.